you are long distance, right? So if I'm here and you're there, every time we see each other, to Adrienne's point, we are in love mode. We are, not to say you won't have disagreements, because people are people, right? And you're not always going to show up your best self. Sometimes I ain't in the mood to travel, but hey, I'm here, right? Um, but I do feel like there's a level of masking that you can do when you're long distance. So I don't want to spend 3, 4, 5 years with you in this relationship. We're in two separate states. And then on year 6, we get married and you get here and it's a nightmare. And I don't like you and you don't like me. And I don't like that you leave the toilet seat up and you don't like that I put it down and your socks is all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, because I'm particular about my particulars. And so I would rather have the adjustment phase while we're building the relationship than be caught off guard after I done fell in love and now we on the brink of getting married and one of us relocated. Now I'm in another state. I don't know nobody. I mean, I have sores, but I don't know nobody. You know what I mean? I'm here. I ain't got no family. It's me and my kid showing up.
You're not so sure if I even like you anymore.
You know what I mean? And you're just, and I'm just like, who is this person? Sir,
right.
who are you? All right, y'all. Well, welcome to today's episode. Welcome to You're Gonna Need a Drink for This. It is a Sexy After Kids podcast. I am your host, Apple Daniels. As usual, I got my girls with me, Adrienne, Nicole, and Lynette. Today we are talking long distance relationships. Do they work? Is this something that y'all can do? We are in the age of online dating, which will be something else we'll talk about in another episode. But we're in the stage of online dating, of putting ourselves out there. And I know for me personally, I've at some point realized that either my person probably does not live in my area or state, or maybe they're in another state altogether. I don't know, right? And I think just with social media, with all of these avenues, we're in business, we're traveling, we're networking. So you could be at an event, you could meet someone and y'all hit it off. And, do you just say, oh, it was nice meeting you and I go home? Or is this something where you're willing to develop a relationship and figure it out later? With you and this person. So I'm going to start with Lynette. Because Adrienne got a look on her face. I don't know what that look is. So we're going to start with Lynette. Now I'm going to say, what are your thoughts on long distance relationships?
So I've done them. Okay. I've done them from 400 and somebody miles away, and I've done them from 76 miles away. I will say this, for me personally speaking, they can work. For me, they can work as long as there's an airport nearby. Okay. I live in a 5-mile radius of my life. So it's like, if I can't do what I need to do within that 5 miles, it's probably not going to get done. So to drive like all the way from here to hell, I don't know, but I'll hop on a plane in a New York minute. To me, it just seems that the ones where you have to get in your car and drive 1,000,000 miles, those are the hardest, in my opinion, because you can't just up and just go. I can up and just go to the airport, and the airport, the airplane's going to take me where I need to go. But again, that's just me. I'm not really, can I drive long distance? Yeah. Am I much of a long distance driver? No. Will I do it if I have to, if I really, really like somebody? Sure. But I prefer, it was easier for me on a plane. So I'm not against them though. They can work if the two people really want to make it work. Because eventually somebody may have to relocate, and that's totally fine. So it really depends on what the living situation is. Somebody may own a home, somebody may rent. Sometimes a woman generally follows where her man is. So I think it's subjective again. It's easier if I could fly to my man. But if I have to drive and I really, really like you and we're really, really trying to make something pop off, then yeah, I will get in my car and I'll be in hot pursuit. Absolutely.
I think that's interesting though, because a lot of people would probably choose the opposite. It's much easier to hop in a car and, okay, let me say this. So where I'm situated in California, it's easy to kind of get around. So somebody living an hour and a half away, 2 hours away, maybe even three to some extent, like if it's going to be like a weekend situation, not really a thing for us. But I can understand for you being in LA, the traffic, so the distance being 3 hours may turn into a 6, 7 hour trip. So it may be easier for you to hop on a plane. So I think that's interesting. Adrian, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was a little ready for this one. When it comes to long distance relationships, I'm all for them. Well, let me step back. I say I'm all for them. As far as trying it and see what it's about, because I'm kind of like you, Apple. Um, I don't really think my person is here. I'm in, Texas. Well, I'm in the Dallas area, right? And I don't really think my person is here because I don't like Dallas men. I don't like men who are from Dallas, born and raised. You
Mm,
have to have been from somewhere else and migrated here, in order for me to kind of deal with you. Um, so for me, I'm at the stage now to where I am trying this whole internet dating thing, social media dating thing. I do group travel and things like that. And oftentimes, those individuals do not live here, in Dallas. So, of course, that's how that long distance relationship starts. And I'm okay with it because with me, I miss you, a little bit. I don't like to be nagged all the time. So if you are away or we're apart, that gives us that time apart if we're in a long distance situation, because that's that away time, that separation time. So when we are together, we're probably not really nagging. We're trying to make the best of our time together. um, that's just my thought process on it with long distance relationships, but I'm all for it. I do want to get you guys thought because Lynette, you mentioned something about the relocation piece of it. You was like, she relocates to him. Well, why does it have to be she relocates to him? Why he can't relocate to where she is? What's the deciding factor on
Well,
who relocates?
right. So I didn't give an absolute with
Right.
that. There was no, when I said that there was
Yeah.
no, there was no absolute to that. It was just generally, like I said, and I prefaced it by saying maybe he owns his house, but a lot of times you'll see the woman move for her man. Now, that is
And
not to say
why
that
is
the
that,
woman
you
has to
guys?
move with her man, because a lot of times it's easier. Now, again, it also depends on where you're geographically located, and what's going on in your life. For example, um, somebody that I've been seeing for a while, right? So he owns his home. I rent. We live 76 miles away from each other. I would not expect for him to sell his house or rent out his house and move into my cute little old apartment. You know what I'm saying? It's just not logical,
Mhm.
you know
Mhm.
and again, at this point in my life, especially, I don't have any little kids. I don't have anything that is literally holding me to where I just can't move and my feet are cemented here. There's more to life than Inglewood, California. Do you understand? So for me, I would have no issues with that necessarily, if in fact that's what it came to. Now, on the contrary, let's say I own my home and he was renting and he decided, and he relocated to move with me. That would be more logical. Why? Because I'm not going to sell my house to go move to your little apartment. Do you understand? So again, it depends on everyone's individual situation, what is keeping them, or if anything is keeping them where they are, and what's more feasible, what's more logical, what's more practical. You know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be an absolute. I'm not saying that women have to go move to their man or the man has to go move to their woman. It really depends on each individual situation. It's circumstantial.
I know.
well,
Well, for example, I own my home, right? I
Mhm.
would sell. I would sell to relocate, um, to be with whoever I'm gonna be with, right? Um, Someone I'm very interested in. They don't own their home. Um, but I would sell because the whole thought process is if we're going to be in a relationship. Now, this is only if this is not me just selling to say I'm finna move because we date, we go together. We're talking marriage and those type of things are
Oh,
in
no
play.
doubt. Yeah.
Then I would sell because we should be building something together anyway, right? We need
Mhm.
to be talking about, well, if I sell, what's next? What are you bringing to the table as well? Because that was an asset. Or do we? I can keep this home and I can rent this home
I
out,
was just
and
about
we
to say
still be at
that.
home
I
together.
was just about to say that. Yeah. At the end of the day, it would be a better idea to keep what you have and rent it out and then get something together. Even if it worked out to where, like, say, you moved in with him or he moved in with you, you know, with marriage involved, it would still be a good idea to buy yours together. You know what I mean? I would
Hmm.
not, and I mean, do you again, it's situational. It totally depends on the person and the circumstances, but I would still say, I wouldn't sell my house regardless for as to what the situation is. I would rent my house out and then me and Bay go figure it out, however we decide to figure it out. Because at the end of the day, you just gave the operative word. It's an asset. It's an
Right.
asset. So it can pay
Right.
off for you in the long run later on down the line, on top of the fact that you don't know what your life is going to look like in the next 10, 15, 20 some odd years. Nowadays, also, it's good to hold on to your real estate you know so yeah, I dig what you're saying, and also, yeah, getting a house with your person is definitely a thing, but selling it, I don't know, girl, listen.
So do either of you have a so I have this other thing when it comes to relocating, right? Long distance relationship. And I've talked to a couple of people that of course do not live here.
Mhm,
And I'm like, well, where are you from? Well, what city you live in? It's all about the city for me, or the location or the area of where you live. I can
mhm.
be in a long distance relationship with you, but I will probably never move there because if there's no economic development of growth there, I would never move to that city.
And somebody like
So
me who lives in Los Angeles, fuck economic degree, I'm tired. I'm gonna go on and go. I'm tired. I live with all 7.8 million of my cousins. I'm tired. There's a line for everything. I'm tired. There's
she's
traffic for
out.
everything at 3 o'clock in the morning. There is traffic like we all going to work. I'm tired. Find me that location.
Oh
So
my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna send some people your
I'm
way.
different. I'm different from both of y'all. At this stage in my life, I don't want to do long distance. Like,
Mhm.
I understand that he's probably somewhere else, but I want him here. I want date nights. I've talked about my sector of friends that's here, and all of the women in my circle are married or engaged or in very long term relationships. And so I'm tired of being fifth wheel, sixth wheel, seventh. You got to be here. Like, we got places to go. We got plays to go to. We got Christmas lights to go look at. You know what I mean? We have dinner dates to go to. You got to be here or within the vicinity, right? So the furthest I could do, maybe an hour, hour and a half.
Okay,
I
so
could do that.
let me.
I could do that. I cannot do states away right now. And
Yeah.
the other thing for me in long distance relationships is, y'all know, so I have a son with autism. The fact of
Mhm.
the matter is this: until my kids, and I have 50-50 custody. So until my kids are, so my one baby will always be with me, but until the other two are like 18 and can decide, y'all want to stay here or y'all want to leave, y'all going to school or y'all going, what y'all gonna do, right? Until
Mhm.
we're at that point, I'm here. So even if you did live in another state, you got to come to me, and that will be the compromise. You got to come to me at least for the next 4 to 5 years, and then at that point, I'm willing to go wherever you want to go. Now, Aiden got to come with us, but I'm willing to
Yeah.
go wherever it is that you want, where you want us to go. But nah, like, I need you here. I 100% need you here. Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you,
Like,
Apple, I agree with you. I'm gonna tell you why I agree with you, because I'm that person as well. Like, I like my love language is quality time. My love language is also physical touch and so on and so forth. So in that essence, that's where it does kind of get tricky. Um, like I said, my person lives like an hour and a half away. So with that being said, it's not an easy jump on the 405 to the 5 to the 14 to get to where you need to go at any moment's notice. Now, for us to relocate right now, it's not an option because my child won't be 18 for another 14 months and she doesn't graduate high school until June of 2025. So I still have at least a school year and a half before I can make any kind of moves. You know what I mean? So at that point, since she's the baby and I'll be done, we can go to Canada for all I care. But, but until then, it's not much moving I can do. So is it hard? Yes. Does it get hard often? Most definitely. But again, it depends on where you guys are in the situation. And I also believe that people will make effort for what they want to make effort for whom they want to make effort
100%.
for. You may not be able to see each other every day, as if they lived around the corner or up the street. But
here's the thing though, even with Bay living here, I still don't want to see you every day. I
right.
mean, unless we're at the point of, that we're married, so or we live together, so now you're coming home. But when we're not and we're just in the courting phase, we're dating, we're building, I don't want to see you every day. And you shouldn't want to see me every day. You got stuff to do, I have stuff to do, I don't have time. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not a matter of wanting to be, I want to be up under you, but I don't. I want to be up under you with space. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I want to be up under you, but with space, right? Give me a minute. Let me
You
breathe a
want some
little bit.
attention. You want space and attention at the same time.
100%. It's both. It's both for
So
me,
you want it
right?
on your terms.
Our
You want
terms
it
is
when you
fine.
want it.
Our terms is fine, but it's still both for me, right? And we just got to figure out like what that looks like. That makes it, you know, that makes it okay for both of us, right? That's something that we both can live with. But yeah, he still has to be here, accessible to me, right? Because even when he's here, you're not always going to be able to do all the dates. People have work schedules and kids and stuff just isn't going to fit. And sometimes he'll be with his friends by himself. Sometimes I'll be with mine by myself. But I want the option, right? I want it's Sunday morning and I don't woke up and I want you to throw something on the grill and we're going to put this game on and we're going to,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Or we're
I'm
going
gonna
to
make
brunch
sides.
or
You're gonna be
whatever it is.
barbecuing.
Yeah, it's not always circled around the friends, but it's other things. It's just that regular stuff. And I feel like when you're long distance, you don't get a lot of that regular stuff.
You don't.
And
You
then
don't.
you find with couples who are long distance and then they finally come together, now you got a whole new honeymoon adjustment phase you have to go through because you're not used to being in each other's face.
It's
And so I
true.
feel like there's still a facade that happens when you are long distance, right? So if I'm here and you're there, every time we see each other, to Adrienne's point, we are in love mode. We are, not to say you won't have disagreements because people are people, right? And you're not always going to show up your best self. Sometimes I ain't in the mood to travel, but hey, I'm here, right? But I do feel like there's a level of masking that you can do when you're long distance, right? And then when you come together, now you're trying to live together. So I'm trying to get used to being around you all the time when I haven't before. And now I'm trying to get used to living with you, right? If the relationship has gone to a certain point, I just don't want that. I want you here now. Like, let's go through our ebbs and flows together. Let's figure it out now. You know what I mean? And like get rid of all that in the very beginning because I don't want to spend 3, 4, 5 years with you in this relationship. We're in 2 separate states. And then on year 6, we get married and you get here and it's a nightmare. And I don't like you and you don't like me. And I don't like that you leave the toilet seat up and you don't like that I put it down and your socks is all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, because I'm particular about my particulars. And so I would rather have the adjustment phase while we're building the relationship than be caught off guard after I done fell in love and now we on the brink of getting married and one of us relocated. Now I'm in another state. I don't know nobody. I mean, I have sores, but I don't know nobody. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm here. I ain't got no family. It's me and my kid showing up.
You're
you
not so
know,
sure if I even like you anymore.
you know what I mean? And you're just, and I'm just like, who is this person? Sir,
Right.
who are you? Because I don't know this person. And you don't know me. And now we don't like each other. And now it's just all bad, right? I don't want to do that. So for me, personally, long distance is probably not in the long run. I can't see it working unless he was willing to come here like very soon, like in the dating phase. I don't know. That's me. What I said
Well,
a
look,
lot.
from another state, I agree with you. Like that would be insane. Like you could try it, but like I said, let me do it like this. When I dated long distance and it was an airport situation, I was still in California, and so was he. I was in Inglewood, he
Mhm.
was in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't nothing for me to hop on a plane. Like I was that person where I hop on a plane in New York minute. I was in Sacramento. I go spend a day out there and come on back. I go spend the weekend out there and come on back. Like it was nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just 400 miles away. So for me to hop on the flight price wasn't nothing. It's whatever, now in a whole nother state on a whole nother side of the whatever. You
Because
know,
it can get
it kind of goes
costly.
back to what you said, Apple. Like, because I'm kind of in a similar situation. Only difference is like my daughter's not autistic, but needless to say, I still have a minor in my custody. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So at the end of the day, I can't just uproot. My child goes to school 7.5, damn near not 8 miles, south of my house. I can't move 76 miles from my house and then tack on another 8 miles for her to get to school. It's not going to work. And she's in her second semester as a junior. I'm not about to uproot her life, her schooling right now. That's just not an option. And it's not smart for me because I believe in consistency and stability when it comes to that. So, again, I have another year and a half before I can really up and jump and do anything. But that other state stuff, I've never done it. I can't really give an opinion on it, but I don't know that would necessarily work for me. And to Adrienne's point, again, if you're living in a place where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not living there. You got it. Whatever the reason is, that's going to cause an issue as well, especially if they're stuck on where they're living and they're like, yeah, I like it here. This is home. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Well, back to the dating app we go. What do you do?
Dating that. Look, that happens though. I mean, but that's a part of dating, right? And I think in the beginning phases, I think for me, it's all about the beginning phase, right?
Mm,
Because in the initial conversations, I'm going to find out where you live. I already know whether or not that's a no for me. There's certain
mhm.
places where I'll see a man is located in a specific area. I'm not even going down that road because I know I'm
Mhm.
not driving, right?
Facts.
Met a
Facts.
man, gorgeous man, and his location was at least 4 hours away, and I was just like, this is stupid. Like, it's not even worth us
Oh,
having a
ain't no
conversation.
way. That's LA to Vegas. Ain't no way.
There's no reason for us to even have this conversation because I
Yeah.
know I
I'm gonna
know I'm
drop
not
a few
making
hours
that.
to you.
You would always have to come to me. I'm not coming to you. I know I'm not coming to you. I'm not even going to act like I am. You would have to come here selfishly, but I don't know you, so I can be selfish, right?
Yeah. And on the
I'm
Los Angeles clock, even like what you said, Apple, about how an hour and a half, 2 hours may be okay. Listen, in Los Angeles, that ain't okay because an
right.
hour and a half, it's like you're sitting in torturous traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not only that, everything is not a
Wow.
straight shot. So, like for example, if I wanted to go, for example, if I go visit, my guy, my thing is I have to hop on the 405 to the 5 to the 14. I have to take 3 freeways. It's an hour and a half drive, yes, but it's also 3 freeways. There's not really, I mean, unless they just literally live off of one central freeway and you're literally sitting like right near it, you're gonna have to take multiple freeways to
But
get to
that's
where
a
you're
lot.
from.
That's a lot of California because that's Northern California too. A lot of
Yeah.
Right, but
times,
see, but there's
a lot
traffic,
of
but
times
there's
those
traffic on
places,
each and every last freeway that you're on.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Every freeway.
it's not as bad as LA, but that's Cali. Like the traffic is horrendous, and I'm not even going to compare us to you, but like when you get into like the Bay, you know what I mean? Like the traffic is horrendous. Like 880s horrendous, 205 horrendous. You know what I mean? The Altamont, different things you have to take to get to certain places. It's always bad. So I
Mhm.
can understand that. Again, it's one of those things like if a man lives in the city, like, so for us, it's bridges. I don't do bridges. Ever
Oh,
since that damn earthquake in the 80s, where we're all sitting here watching TV and you're watching the Bay Bridge crash, I don't do bridges. I
ooh.
do not. And
Wow.
my friends will tell you, I don't do bridges. I don't like them. If I have to drive over them, it's like one of them hands on the wheel.
10 and 2.
Either that, either I'm 10 and 2, or I'm just in and out them lanes trying to get across as quick as I can, right? I don't
Wow.
care for them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have another bridge out here a couple years ago, caught fire, whole thing on fire. I go across this bridge all the
What?
time. It was a fire, like because it has like a mountain like off to the side. Anyways, fire, whole bridge on flame, in flames.
And you can't go nowhere. You ain't got nowhere to go.
Luckily, that wasn't a weekend that I had went home. You know what I mean?
Right.
What I'm saying is, so for you, it's traffic. For me, it's bridges. If it's too many bridges, you live too far. We got some bridges where it's like a two lane
Yes.
bridge and
Yes.
water and bay. I'm
Nope.
good. I'm good. I'm
So
good. Me and my
you got
mom
like
had
25 miles of don't
yeah,
die.
we ended up on that bridge one time. I was like, hey, check this out, bro.
Not doing this again.
I had in the car, hey, Sky Daddy, it's us. I'm gonna need you to get us where we going safely, please, and thank you. You know, it doesn't bother some people, but for me, that's my ick. My ick is bridges. How far is it? Are there deserted? We have a lot of land out here. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In between areas, even driving to LA, there's a lot of no man's land,
Yep.
right?
It sure
Mm.
is.
Do I have to go to
Sure
no
is.
man's land? You can relate to this, Lynette.
I've
You
driven
start
from
getting
LA to
to
Sacramento.
Bakersfield, not doing it. Fresno, not doing it. Merced, not
That
doing
whole
it.
that whole
That
Central
whole
California.
Central
The
Really?
California.
whole Central
There's
California.
a whole central
Of
between
nothing.
Lynette and I that is just like nothingness. And I'm
Girl,
not
have you been to Santanella?
no.
Santanella is between LA and
That sounds
Sac.
like a
And this is
candle.
I thought it says
Like the
Centinela. Right. I
Centinela.
thought it says
Yeah, like the
Centinela.
candle.
And we have Centinela out here, like
Yeah.
it's a park, but it's called Santanella. And it's kind of like one of those stops in between Sac and LA. And I
Mhm.
was like, what the hell place is this? It was like you had one block that had a whole bunch of eateries and like a gas station over here, and that was it. But people had the audacity to live there. Why?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
But other than that,
There's a lot of those areas in Cali, like just no man's land, truck stop,
for
you know,
miles
for miles and
and
miles. And
hours.
so for me as a woman, the thing that I think about is I'm driving out here. Yeah, I got AAA, but
So
in
do I,
between
but
the
ain't
time
no
AAA,
way.
in between the time for them to get to me. And
Right.
then some of these areas got the nerve to have bad cell phone service. So don't let
Yep,
your phone service
it's
be
true.
shaky in these areas. Like that's my thing. How far is he? Where and what? And I'm looking at the road. What do I have to do to get to you? Because if I got bridges and hills, and I also don't do hills, which is why I don't fool with San Francisco. I don't do the city. Like,
Oh goodness.
plenty of friends. When I was younger, I didn't really care. You know, I was a little bit bolder. Now in my old age, there's certain things I don't do. I don't do rain. I don't do too
You
late
know.
at night too much unless I'm working. I don't do too late at night. I don't do rain. I don't do bridges.
Mm-mm.
I know I sound like I have a whole lot of lists of I don'ts,
So
but
you
this
need
is how
somebody that just comes that
Well, I mean,
lives
you know
like
you.
around the
You
corner.
know what's
I
comfortable
know
for
me.
you.
I'm at a state in my life where I know me, and so I know what I need in relationships. So even if it was long distance, there would probably be a list so long that he would be like, "Girl, this ain't even worth it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see you on Facebook." Never mind, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
Like I
Well,
said, you can tell you.
I had a guy I was talking to. He wasn't even long distance, but guess what? Because after you made a statement about being able to turn the grill on and watch the game, and me, I'm a football girl, right? So I like to watch the game.
Me
So
too.
we literally, and this guy lives here, um, but I didn't want to get out. It was one of those nights. I was in. But he wanted to watch the game together. So literally, we were on the phone watching the game together.
Mm-hmm.
He maybe live about 20 minutes. Maybe I'll say about 25, 30 minutes from me. I just didn't feel like getting out. So I mean, and he local. So
Mm-hmm.
with me, with a long distance situation, it's okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
everything around here is a drive anyway. You're gonna drive 45 minutes to an hour
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to go hang out or go be with that person. Because me, I'm not bringing anybody to my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna come to your house and I don't mind driving, right? But for the most part, everybody that I meet locally, they like 45 minutes to an hour drive, which is the standard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and of course, you talking about a couple of freeways as well every time. I think that's with all these cities, all these freeways that they're throwing up. Um, but for me, I guess it's the access for me. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't want to be too accessible. I don't know.
It's definitely the access. So date nights, right? I had someone I was dating and we lived 10 minutes from each other, but this
Mm-hmm.
is during the pandemic and horrible ending. But one of the great things about this particular relationship is we were pretty much quarantined like together because we had already started dating like right before the pandemic started. So we just kind of continued. However, there were nights, like I was saying earlier, where even though we live together, there might be a reason we can't be together. My kids might be home, or, man, we just didn't feel like it. Nobody felt like being in each other's face.
Yeah.
But we used to do these virtual dates. And so we watched Lost. We watched all the seasons of Lost, and we used to so we would queue up our TVs at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that we basically were watching it together exactly. And then when a commercial came, because it was Hulu, so when a commercial came, we would pause it. Sometimes he would have a 90-second commercial. Sometimes mine would only be 30. But at the end of the commercial, we would just wait for the person to finish their commercial slot. And we
Mm-hmm.
would
I've done
start
that
again.
before.
Well, we did this for, and let me say again, horrible ending, but that I thought if I had a takeaway, like that was the cutest thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I related that to a long distance relationship, I definitely think that that would be a good idea to stay connected, stay bonded. You could still binge watch together, and you're not like, oh, did you, watch an episode ahead of me, or did you whatever, whatever. No, we're
Right.
watching it together, right? And the
Mhm.
pact is you don't skip ahead, right? That's just your pact. We always watch it together. So I like that idea, Adrienne. I've done that idea before. I think it's a cute way to stay bonded when you are in a long distance relationship, or even if you're in a local relationship and y'all just can't be together that day. Um, Lynette, your thoughts on that?
Again, I mean, it's really tough. I mean, because like what you just said, I've done that before, and it's cute and it's fun. But see, again,
She says it's cute.
It's cute and it's
no, no,
fun.
no, no. Seriously, it is because, like I said, I've done it before, and it's actually fun. Like, are you going to commercial? Okay, well, I'm gonna wait while you finish your commercial. So I got 3 commercials. Well, I
I
got
gotta go to the
4.
bathroom. Pause yours. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so I've been there and I'm okay with that. Like I said, it really depends on how I'm feeling. The person is going to depend on how long and how much I'm willing to A, put forth the effort, and B, how long I'm willing to stick it out. Because
Mhm.
again, I get bored easily. And I preface everybody that I deal with, talk to, relationship, I preface it with that. I get bored easily. Now,
Mm-hmm.
do I need to be up under you 24/7? No. Why? I have a life just like you do. I
Mhm.
understand busy, for lack of a better anything. I understand busy, but at the same time, it's like if no effort is being made on your part at all, and like they say, before a woman walks away, she's had a conversation with this guy at least, 5 to 10 times about what the problem is. And if he is just like not solving the issue, well, then I can't really be held accountable for what the hell I do next. You know, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
try to put forth my best effort no matter what that looks like. If I'm digging you like that, let me again preface it by saying, if I'm digging you like that. Now, if I'm not, I don't really care, you know, but yeah, I'll come see you. If you live an hour and a half away, that's fine. If that's our arrangement, that's cool. Am I going to go out of state though? Again, if you live in a state where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing that, then I'm gonna cut that off before it even goes anywhere. We're not even gonna have that conversation. We could be friends, but I'm not gonna relocate to God only knows where just because. And not only that, I'm spoiled. I'm a West Coast baby. I'm a beach baby. I live in California. I live in Los Angeles. You really
Okay.
got to be amazing to get me to leave Los Angeles. And I'm not saying that Los Angeles is the end all be all, but literally, like, I've never lived in snow. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about living in rural areas and having to walk 5 miles to my mailbox. I don't know about having to drive 10 miles to the nearest grocery store. It is what it is, you know, but it really depends on how I'm feeling the person. Honestly, I mean, we could do the long distance thing for a while, but kind of like what you said, Apple, how long is that supposed to last? And then for someone like you and I who have minors still in the picture, it's like me, I'm willing to give a long distance situation like right now another year and a half, because again, I cannot just up and move because my child is still in school. Once she graduates from high school, like I said, it's whatever, but that's just what it looks like for right now. But in the meantime, in between time, there has to be some sort of effort on both parts. And if that person is just like not really feeling it or doesn't want to do that, okay, it's cool. Whatever, bow gracefully and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like I'm the only one who's willing to change states,
I had a question for you, Adrienne. Speaking of
even
which,
countries.
Adrienne, I have a girl. Listen,
Mhm.
I have a question for you, Adrienne. Do you
Yeah,
ever want to get married?
I do. I do.
So, sis, question.
What?
With Lynette, you got to give absolutes. And you have to give full answers. It can't just be I do. You have to elaborate.
That was a yes. That was a yes or no question.
It was. In fairness, it was. Now, my follow up to that is this: if you want to get married, but at the same time, you wouldn't mind somebody living all the way over here on the other side of the wherever, as long as he ain't got to be up under you, and like your stipulations are stipulating, sis. And I'm trying to understand, how do you plan on getting your future husband if you cool with, like, you stay over
I
there,
mean,
I'm gonna stay over
the
there.
long distance so eventually we would move together, right? We would
Uh-huh.
either, because I am even open to us starting out long distance and we relocating to a whole different state together, somewhere that he currently does not
Sure.
reside and I currently do not reside. We just
Uh-huh.
go to a whole new state. I'm
Okay.
okay with that. At some point, somebody got to relocate. When we go to talking wedding bills and marriage and things like that, somebody has to make the adjustment of
Hmm.
who's going to move,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, we gonna have multiple homes. I mean, with me, I think I'm kind of peak. I'm not going West Coast. Let's just say that.
Uh,
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 I have been very strategic in my locations
mhm.
because currently, right, I'm in Texas. It gets hot here. I'm not fond of the snow, so I'm not really north,
Midwest
Midwest
and
type
them.
thing. I'm
Yeah.
not really into that. So when it comes to southeast, I'm okay with that. Some of the East Coast area, but the southeast, I'm okay with that. If I can stay in the Florida area, I'm cool with that. I want to be around beach. I am getting to a point to where I want to have a certain setting.
Okay.
Um, and a beach is my happy place.
Yes, ma'am.
Water is my happy place.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm talking to people who live by water.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So if you don't live by water from a long distance standpoint, then I'm probably just passing time and talking to you just to be passing time.
For
But
entertainment purposes, yeah.
for entertainment purposes. But for someone that I'm really serious about, um, you know, I'm I would move. You just gotta stay in a certain demographic, which I would already know that because that would already be set up in the play. But I'm
Yeah.
even willing to switch. I mean, go to a different country. I'm
Uh,
not tied down anymore at this
You
point.
said country, ooh,
wait, you heard
child.
me?
Country, though?
country, y'all.
That's a
Listen, I
whole
got a hard time figuring out if I'm finna hop on a plane with you to go to Jamaica, like, and move to the
Listen,
country. Child,
we,
listen,
I want
these
to
men
buy
are
a home in
crazy.
Jamaica,
I don't even know if I could trust somebody. Like, it would be a long time
but
before
I
I
want to
trust
have
somebody like that.
homes in multiple places. I want to buy a home in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
so we would have a home in Jamaica. We would have a home also, regardless if I went with someone who is in a different country, we would also have something here in the United States as
You
well.
gonna get your mail order husband?
You never know, girl.
No,
They out there. You just gotta be open. And it could have been somebody you met.
but how open? Because
I don't
listen,
trust people in other countries. I just don't.
yeah,
I
I'm
just
like,
don't.
listen, I'm all for being open. I'm all for, you know, I'm all for shortening the list a little bit, reconsidering some things,
But
but
that ain't it. That ain't
Did
one
she say
of
she
them.
don't trust? She don't trust. Honey, you bet
I
not trust
do.
the men from LA. You know.
I don't.
That's her. Yeah.
I
Callie
don't. I've
period.
just learned to live with it.
Listen, Callie period, why you playing? But we got
Listen,
some
I'm from
interesting
Inglewood.
ones
You
out
learn.
here, north to south.
You're right. In California, we just adjust. We don't
We do.
learn to like or trust anything. We
We
adjust
build different out here. You got to be on
accordingly.
your swivel all the time.
Right.
All
Right.
the time.
Look here in Texas too, baby.
They be like, "What's your toxic trait?" I'm from Cali,
Period.
and I've been subject to Cali men my entire life, from my rearing to my dating.
Literally. Literally.
That is crazy. See, it's for me the long distance also is not an issue because, like I said, I live in Dallas, but I really don't date men that's born and raised here in Dallas because I feel like you too slick. You think you
Mm.
slicker
Mm.
than a can of oil because you born and raised here. No.
I heard that the guys in
So
Houston are pretty trash too. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't really mess around in Houston too much. I'll go, cause Houston from me is about 4 hours. I
Mm.
believe, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
about 4 hours
Mm-hmm.
south of me. I go down there, I kick it, I do what I got to do, and I come on back to the D.
You know what's funny?
Because
I love me a Texas boy. Ooh, child.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the cowboy
You
boots,
do.
cowboy hats, tight jeans, and the belt, I'm all for it. But
Oh, what do they? Oh,
wait, wait. I wasn't even going there with the Cowboys. That's a whole nother episode, baby.
you
Listen,
know, but I'm
listen.
asking questions like, where you from? And they be like, well, I'm from such and such. I'm like, okay. Mississippi, Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana,
Come on,
Alabama.
South. Come on, South.
When they say all that, I'm like, what's up, daddy? What we doing?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Same, same.
So the long distance thing is really not an issue for me because I like men from those areas anyway.
I'm not gonna lie. Texas could probably sway me.
Yeah, something about the
A good
upbringing.
a good Texas man could probably sway me to do long distance.
You would love Texas. I could
Oh
see
no, I
you
love Texas.
in.
Dallas is on my list of where I'm gonna go when the
Come on,
kids.
sis.
You know I'm coming.
Come
Dallas
on.
is on the list. Houston, not so much. I don't mind Houston, but it just feels more city
It's
to
a
me.
party.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. If I was younger, Houston for sure.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, potentially Dallas. I've considered. I love. I'm not gonna lie. I love Orlando. I love Orlando for the
Okay.
beach. I do not want to do Florida with the black sun. I do not want to do Florida with the
crocodiles and
hurricane.
alligators.
I don't want to do the alligator. Every time a hurricane came, I would be leaving. Like, I'm going to Florida as a tourist, and I'm leaving.
Right. Right.
I just
Right.
want access to come in and out of Florida. Like, I don't really want to be there. Be there. You know what I mean? I can never do East Coast because it's too cold for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a good East Coast men also.
I like a New York accent. I like a good New York accent.
Really?
I'm really on
Half of them not from
like
there.
I
DC,
do.
I say like DC, Maryland, like that whole, yeah. I could do that, but
Yep.
I don't want to live there. I have no desire to live there whatsoever. The
Yeah.
only place I can really see myself living outside of Cali is
Texas.
probably Texas. Like Texas for sure. Anything else, you'd have to convince me. I would have to see the area. I've heard Nashville is nice. I've heard Nashville is
Yeah,
really nice.
I have.
And I've considered maybe like a North Carolina.
I'm a Salt Lake City girl. I would
Maybe.
totally. I plan on buying a house in Salt
You
Lake City. I love it there. Yes, I love
Mm.
it, love it, love it there.
really?
If we're talking West Coast, I love Denver. I will not lie. I like Denver.
You know what? And I would check out
I like Denver
Colorado.
a lot.
I would
Yeah,
check
I
out
like Denver a
Colorado.
lot.
Place. Yeah, I
Yeah, but
like Denver.
I've done a lot of Salt Lake City, Utah in my life, and I freaking love it out
Mhm.
there. Even if I don't
Really?
live, yes, I would totally buy a house out there. That is my plan. It is on my list of something. And yeah,
Is it hot and humid out there? I gotta check that
it's
out.
not humid. No. So
Salt
Salt Lake
Lake
is a
City.
valley. Salt Lake is like equivalent to Sacramento. The only difference is
Mhm.
it snows in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
But it gets hot like
Okay.
during the summer, it's in the hundreds because it's in the valley.
Mhm. No,
So yeah.
So
thank you.
maybe Apple, we need to take a trip because you said North Carolina, and I hear Charlotte is booming.
I have a
I
friend who lives in
love
Charlotte. Is it
Charlotte.
Charlotte? Somewhere in North Carolina. Jackson,
Yeah, Charlotte,
somebody.
North Carolina. I hear it is
Mhm.
booming. So we may have to take a trip. You know,
We
you
might
might
have to
find
take a
somebody
trip.
over there you like, girl.
Maybe. Listen.
You know what? I think it's the traveling for me, you guys. If I just really just sit back and just think about, well, with the moving around and dating guys in different cities, I think it's the traveling for me
Mm-hmm.
I can
because
see that.
I can get up and go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
even locally, if I'm hanging out with a guy or kicking it with a guy, baby, I got my bag and we getting up and going.
And it's excitement, right? When you're traveling, when you're on a plane and you guys are, or you're going somewhere, you're going to meet Bay or something like that. It's exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I
It's
agree.
exciting. Something to look
I
forward
think
to.
that's the adrenaline for me. Being able to say, "Ooh, I'm gonna go see," and you know, you packing
Mm-hmm.
all your nice, good, cute things, and you already done plotted in your head what you're gonna do and things like that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the fun and excitement for me right now. Maybe.
I would definitely say when I meet men, one of the first questions that I ask them now is, excuse me, do you have a passport? I need to know.
Why is
Mm,
that a thing? Let's talk about
I
that.
said
Why
this.
is
I
it?
said this on a different episode. You are not going to LA and Vegas me to death. You are not going to Atlanta and Miami me to death, sir. Do you have a passport?
mm,
And when
mm,
are we
mm.
leaving for this trip? Like, no, I'm not gonna go live with you, you know, in another country. But when are we leaving? And are you traveled? Are you even open to that? Because if you're not, then it's not going to work, right? It tells me everything I need to know about you. You might be a great person, but it's just not going to work because I'm ready to go. I want to
Mhm,
go. I want to
mhm.
travel. I want to see things. I want to do things. I'm in a different space in my life, and so I need him to be on board with that. So I do agree that it's the traveling thing. I just don't know that I want to travel to see him. I don't know that I want to travel for us to have
For dating
our
purposes?
regular dating interactions, but I'm
Mhm.
totally down to get on a plane and go somewhere like a little vacation. Like we can do that all the
Yeah.
time, you know? What were you gonna say, Lynette?
Well, no, that's interesting because I've been hearing a lot about the whole passport thing. For me, having a passport or not having one is not a deal breaker. Because at the end of the day, like I'm the type of person to where it's like if I want to go somewhere, I'm just gonna go. If we need to go get a passport, we're just gonna go get a fucking passport. Like it's not a big deal to me. Like, oh my god, he doesn't have a passport. Like I'm not gonna cancel you completely. I don't really care either way. You know, are there certain places that I like to see? Sure, but I'm not that one that's like, oh my god, I just have that itch to travel, and you just have to have a passport because we need to go before the song is over. I don't understand. Like, this is really a thing. And this is not even so much to what you said, Apple, but I've seen a lot of this. And a lot of people are like, look, I got my passport. Look, I got my passport. I'm like, what kind of phase are we going through right now? And I mean, traveling is great.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, but what are we going through? What phase are we in of life right now? Why is having a passport such a thing?
You got to be able to go,
I think it's
because
the game of your mind. Go ahead, Adrian.
with the lifestyle that I live right now, I'm in a space to where I can move a little bit more freely. Because unlike you two, my kids, my youngest is 19, And so I'm at a space to where I am moving around more.
Mhm.
So I don't want you to feel left out. If we're trying to experience and do life together and enjoy things together and you
Mhm.
don't have a passport, you can't keep up with me.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
can't move when I am ready to move. Because I have
Mhm.
this, I mean, you need to be ready. Don't be waiting. And if when we're in our getting to know each other stage, and I'm
Mhm.
telling you that I like to travel, I go to, like to go out of the country and things like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Right now, you should be saying to yourself, oh, I don't have my passport. I need to get my passport so I could be prepared. Because I'm going to mention us going somewhere together sometime within that period of us talking within that year. So you need to be ready. You got to have a passport. You,
And respectfully, I get you. And respectfully, I think for me, my stipulation with that is if you don't automatically right off the bat have your passport, that's fine. If you do, that's fine too.
yeah.
What I do not want, because like again, if I want to go somewhere, I just be like, let's go. This is what we're gonna do. Da 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 da. Don't bring me no felon. If you cannot get a passport, if you are not allowed in Canada because of your record, or you can't go to Whoopty Band because of your record, don't even look my way. I can't deal with that because at any given moment, I might be like, well, I want to go here. Like, well, yeah, I got a felony, and they said I can't go to this country because of my felony. I don't have time for none of that. Leave the felons over there. I don't want nothing, no parts of that. Anything that's gonna restrict you from us just upping and jumping. See, I'm a spontaneous person. So right now, in front of you guys, I'm sitting here like, because again, I'm not really even tripping because of where my life is right now.
Hmm.
I'm not like, oh yeah, let me have the desire to just go here and here and here. Like it sounds good in my head, but am I really like my friends laugh at me all the time? Like, girl, where you going? Your driveway? You gonna get a passport to do what? Leave your driveway? You ain't going nowhere. Okay, and probably today that's true. But again, I've been a spontaneous person before, so I might be like, I want to go to Canada tomorrow, you know, and I don't want any. Well, I can't because I don't want that. I don't have restrictions on myself and my life, and I can't deal with somebody else who does.
So
Uh,
I think the conversation about passports and the requirement for someone to have one has more to do with experience. It has more to do with the open-mindedness of the person than the actual passport. So the question isn't in judgment like, oh, you ain't got a passport. I can't, because it's very easy to get one, provided again that you don't have felonies, which felons aren't even a part of this conversation, right? Let me back
Facts.
up, because you honestly can't help, people have passed and things have happened when they were younger and they may have changed. So I
But I
can't.
thought you can get a passport if you got a felony. I thought it
Maybe
was
I
like
don't know.
But
murder
from
or,
what
or certain.
but from what I understand, aren't there some countries that do not allow felons?
That's
Yes.
possible. Yeah, that's true.
I think
But
So you
but
Canada.
can have
I
all the
guess
passports you want, but if
right.
country A is like, that's great, but you ain't coming here. And
But
as
Hmm.
a
I
matter
think
of
what
fact,
I'm
is it Canada
saying
one?
is the whole gist
I
of
think
this
Canada.
question on whether or not you have a passport has more to do with how open is the person, right?
Hmm.
Because your response to that is going to tell me everything I need to know. I had one, but it expired because life hasn't presented itself in a way where I can't travel. That's very different from I didn't get one, I don't want one. What's the big deal? I don't have a desire to
Facts.
really go anywhere. That's a totally different conversation. And then
True.
that for me is a no, because that means all these little vacations and things I've made up in my, we're not going to do that.
You can
And
only watch it
so
on the
it's
internet.
right. And so that like that's just not going to work for me, right? But not having one because it expired, not having one because you just haven't had a reason to get one, but you're still open to it and you do want to travel and you do have aspirations and goals and you want to get out and you want to see things and you want to experience life. That's a very different thing.
Yeah, like
And I
me, I
think
don't have a passport.
and
I've
I
never
think
had a passport.
but I think that that's where the line of questioning comes from, is that now, and especially with this new generation, we're all getting out. Our parents would do things here and there, but it wasn't very common. Like we
Hmm.
are the traveling, taking trips with our girls by ourselves, with our man, with our kids. We are getting up and we are getting out and we are experiencing life. And so in the dating world, and as you're dating, you just want someone that's compatible with you. You want someone who
True.
wants to experience those things with you. If you don't have a passport and you don't desire to get one, then you should be with somebody who also doesn't have a passport and doesn't desire to get one. And y'all can live y'all very simple, which is not bad, very simple life, doing the things that you want to do locally and or domestically and calling it a day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If the highlight of your life is going to see your family down south, because we're in Cali, right? Or if the highlight of your life when you live down south is come to see your family in California, and Cali is the big city, listen, you know what I'm saying? Or New York or wherever, right? Like then that is just what you do when you get with somebody that has those same commonalities with you. But I think the conversation about passports has more to do with, are you open-minded? Do you want to experience more than what we see when we look outside our door? And if
Right.
you do, let's go. And if you don't, then this ain't gonna work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, I don't have a passport, and it's not because I never want one and never had the interest in one. For one, again, I grew up kind of in that generation of like what you just said, Apple, are passports weren't really a thing when I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like who was really going out the country back then? So it was not a necessity back then the only people who got passports were those who were legitimately going out of the country. No one got it to just hold on to
No,
it.
if
You know what
you
I'm
were
saying?
going out of the country, you were rich. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
you were. I have an uncle. He passed away, but I have an uncle and his two sons, and they growing up. One of them, big time lawyer in New York. One of them, like my uncle, did like international travel, and he had businesses and all kind of stuff. And my grandmother, who's from Austin, Texas, well, my great grandmother, who's his mother, from Austin, Texas, that was big stuff to us. When he came into town, with all his fancy travel stories, and I've been here and I've been here and I've done this, and his wife is actually from England, a black woman from England, and so sweet, so good. But that was big to us back then. You know what I mean? Like that was a thing when they came into town from all these countries and places they had been and experiences they had had. That was like, wow, tell us more.
Yeah.
Right? Story
Like
time.
I will
Yeah.
have my passport in 2024. Like I had to
Well,
go
yeah.
through one
Put in
small
the air.
channel. Huh?
Put it in the
Huh?
air. Put
You
it in the
sure
air.
will. Now that
Well,
I know
no,
you
I,
don't.
and I am. Like I said, outside of the fact that I've never had a reason to, and it wasn't really in the air until this newer generation, and this is what we're all doing, which is totally fine. And I discovered that there are places that I want to go. Like I had to change something. Like I said, my birthday on my birth certificate is off by one day, so I actually made the effort and went to court and got a court order that says no, she was legitimately born on this day. So right now I'm waiting for Sacramento to change or amend my birth certificate so that I can get a passport.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I couldn't get a passport unless I went and changed my driver's license to what's on my birth certificate, which is the wrong birthday, and I can't live like that.
I know someone whose mom had that situation. Like it's like three different spellings of her name. I can't remember the story or like why it was like that or what he told
I
me
did
or
my
whatever.
own. I did my own paperwork
Yeah.
and I took myself to court.
No, she's fine. She gets to travel and she has her passport and whatever needs to be worked out is worked out. But I knew someone like that who had like an adjustment between the birth certificate and then trying to, I wasn't there.
The
Obviously,
problem for me was not a misspelling. The problem for me was my actual birthday.
right. But it's the same thing because it's the documentation. It's the something is off on your birth certificate that has to be somehow verified in order for you to get this passport.
Yeah, and you can do things and kind of go with the flow, but I'm not a go with the flow girl. Like, I could have went to DMV because like what's on my driver's license is my legitimate birthday because no one was checking for me before 9/11, right? And I never really knew because I never really had a reason for my birth certificate like that until I was older and had to pay attention. I was like, oh crap. And people were like, yeah, no, your birthday is this. Anything government obviously is what's on my birth certificate, and so I, again, figured it out as a paralegal, figured out my own paperwork, did my own paperwork, took myself to court, got my little court order. And, now I'm on the road to getting everything amended and good. So yeah, I will have a passport. Now, if I have a passport and that just means that I'm going down the street to the beach, I still have a passport.
But guess what? You'll be ready. So when we say, girl, we're gonna
Exactly.
book a girls trip to Cabo, you ready.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my passport and I sat on it for about 8 months before I went somewhere. And then the second time I traveled, it was a cruise, and I mean, I needed it for documentation purposes, but I didn't get a stamp, and I went to 3 countries and still ain't get no stamp.
Yeah,
because it
and
was
I'm gonna get
bruised. You
I'm
know
gonna
what I
get my
mean?
daughter a passport as well. My son he's about to
Yeah,
be 26, so that's on him if he wants
yeah,
one or
yeah.
not. But
No,
Yeah, I
you good.
always, cause even my kids, I always encourage them, hey, let's get passports, because
you never
you
know.
can't say, I want to see the world or I want to experience different things in the world or in life, but you have the control and you are limiting yourself by not having this documentation that's a requirement for you to do so, right?
Mhm.
And it's not let me try to get it like you're making the conscious efforts of doing it now, right? You don't have anything planned, but you're trying to do it because when that time comes, you will have the documentation because it's a process. Once you get your birth certificate fixed and you go and pursue your passport, they're gonna need that birth certificate.
I know.
So yeah, you're taking the
Well, the
necessary
cool thing is
steps.
down here we can get it expedited. I think it's if we go to is it the FBI building or the somewhere we can get it expedited. I don't know how quickly the expedition is, but we can get it expedited.
It depends. If you have a travel within 2 weeks time frame, then you
No,
can
no,
get.
no. Out here they just like pay us extra. Out here it's about the money. You can pretty much
Oh,
pay for your way
well,
through life out here.
I guess y'all got your own federal laws. I don't know, but I know there is a price you can pay to have it expedited, but expedited,
Right.
if they're backed up, it's backed up.
Well, backed up is
Yeah,
Yeah.
backed
they're
up.
backed up is backed up. Yeah,
That's
for sure.
facts. Especially after
Um,
the
So
pandemic.
circling it back to, because we're kind of getting off, circling it back to these long distance relationships. Let's talk about, and I didn't look anything up, let's talk about some ways to navigate some of the issues that could come up in long distance relationships. And I know, Adrienne, this is kind of your realm. So talk to
That
us
face.
about, how you are navigating long distance relationships and kind of dealing with some of the things that may arise.
the same way I deal with these jokers that's right here in the same city. It is no different. I promise y'all, it is absolutely no different. Because with a long distance relationship, I could have flew back here to Dallas and somebody else could be headed there while I'm leaving, right?
hmm
Same thing locally. I could
hmm
be headed on back over here to my side of town and somebody else could be going into his house and I just left. So I actually treat them the same, whether it's somebody local or somebody long distance. A lot of times though with the long distance, timing is different because like I said, I talk to people that are in other time zones, some
hmm
far, some 1 hour away or so. But we kind of have to accommodate that because of the time zone I'm in. And the schedule I have is pretty hectic. Because I get up early in the morning. I personal train at 4:30 in the morning. So
Oh
I gotta
Lord.
be at bed.
Oh girl, I don't
I
even go
gotta
to the
be at bed.
bathroom at that time of morning.
Girl, I gotta get it. So I gotta be at bed at night. And with that being said, I have to you know, account for that. And most people that I talk to, they know my schedule. Well, not most, all of them. They know my
hmm
schedule because, you know, juggling.
Yeah.
So I got somebody I might talk to on a Wednesday. Got somebody I might talk to on a Thursday. Everybody got their schedule and their time,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether it's long distance or local, because I have to juggle my life and my schedule. If they can't
Facts.
be
Facts.
accommodating to that, then
Mm-hmm.
you just
hmm
not the person for me. But I do um try to communicate as often as possible. It doesn't necessarily have to be a phone call or a video. It could be just texting, just chatting from time to time throughout the day.
So you're about the texting
Whatever.
marathon that these kids are on.
Baby, text me first.
Oh no, honey, call me.
Please pick up the phone and call me
Please pick up
sometimes.
I'm so old school. When I say I'm so
Me
old school, I
too.
need I
Mm,
need to cupcake and fall asleep. I
I'm
need
big.
like I can do text during the day. We're at work and I get it. We're at work,
Yeah.
we're adults, we run around with the kids and whatever. But at the end of the night, I need to hear your voice. I need a conversation, right?
Mhm.
I need that stimulation. Like if I don't, because here's the thing, if not, you're just a Facebook friend to me. If not, you're just an Instagram friend to me. I talk to people online all day long. I work remote. I talk to my coworkers online all day long. So in my relationship, I need that interaction,
It's
right?
true.
I don't think it was a big deal for me before, but it wasn't a big deal because the way of the world was different. But the way
Yeah.
the world is now, like for my person, you got to call me. If you're not on the phone with me, we're not connected. Like I don't care
Mhm.
how much you think we kiki over this text and how many laughing emojis we have.
Mhm.
If we don't have those regular phone conversations, honey, we're not connected. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying every day, like, for instance, with us, there is someone I'm talking to, right? And I told y'all we took a break in between one of the recordings, and I was like, "Oh, gotta whatever." But he was still at work, so we didn't get to physically talk yesterday. But I also understand why, and we were
Mhm.
texting in between that. So it's not a requirement because as adults, you have things that are happening consistently, and so you can't always get to those places. But if you are not calling and communicating and giving that voice connection and like what is it that you're really doing in your relationship, you got to have that connection, and especially if you're already long distance, so I
Yeah.
already don't see you and now I'm not talking to you, I'm only
Yeah.
texting you. Baby, you could stay on Facebook with that. You could just be one of my little friends in the DMs, like just stay over there, right? But if you want to be somebody that has an actual connection with me, we need to like communicate over the phone, right? Especially if you're long distance and I'm not seeing you on a regular basis.
But
As we
how
start,
often? How often? Because
or what?
I don't want to
Often what?
that we need to talk like that
Every
because
day,
oh hell no.
every day.
I got one now who called me every day, and I'm like, I cannot.
Not every day, all day, but
It
every day.
It's not every day, all
It's
day, but I don't want to talk to you
for
every day.
instance, I just said we had a situation yesterday where I was busy. It was all kind of stuff happening with my kids, and just I just was moving throughout the day. There was a day where he was just moving throughout the day, and so we did talk earlier in the day, so we didn't talk at night, right? But the intention was there. Something happened. We're adults, and we were like, okay, cool. Talk to you tomorrow, right? But we still had that text communication in between. I think text has its places. I think text
true.
has its place,
It's
right? And
true.
I think it's beneficial in situations where you cannot because you're busy. But for me to just be sitting at home and say, I'm not going to call you just because I talked to you yesterday, sir, if you don't get from around me with that, if you don't go somewhere with that, I'm not doing it. I'm just not.
That's
Yeah.
me.
Well,
I'm not calling.
you're a little
I
different.
don't be wanting to
You
talk
have
on the
already
phone.
established.
Like
Well, you don't have to talk on the phone, but let me tell you this much. To Apple's point, and even with what you're about to say, Adrian, here's the thing about that. Like even me and my dude, we don't talk on the phone like that. We text, yes, and a lot of times, even if we don't FaceTime, we'll like talk in a video and like text it to each other, so I can still see him communicating because we're busy, you know. But here's the thing about that: like if all you're doing is texting and having texting marathons with somebody, by the time you either get in front of them because you're having a visit, or when you do get lucky enough to get that phone call, y'all ain't got shit to say because you don't know how to have a conversation. And I think that's
mhm.
what's wrong with society today. Everything is very impersonal. You don't have conversations. People don't know how to hold a conversation with anyone anymore because no one freaking has to. All your friends are in your computer. You don't have to pick up the phone and talk to anybody. You can have a
Mhm.
whole long, drawn out conversation in a text message, fall off that bad boy when you feel like it, pick right on back up when you feel like it. Nowadays, when people talk on the phone, there's awkward moments. So every now and again, a conversation has to happen. Of pick up the phone and call me. Don't do it every day. You don't have to. Don't do it all day. You don't have to.
No, you
Just
gotta
have
call me every day. I'm sorry. If you are expressing your interest in me in that way, you gonna text me every
really,
day. What's the difference?
Yeah, but you won't be texting me for. I get a chance to text, see your
um,
message. I gotta go do what I gotta do and whatever.
I just
But if you are calling me and we are that hour, 2 hours we on the phone. You know how much time I just wasted that I could have been doing something very
Well, see,
productive.
I'm different though because I live by my Bluetooth. Like I listen, baby,
Same,
I will pop these
same.
things in my ear and I'll be talking to him, washing dishes, cooking, moving around.
I ain't
Like
making no money
I
on the
don't
phone with you.
lose, I don't lose hours. However, I do like the moments when I'm done with all that and I come in my room and I lay on the bed and now we real life cupcaking, right?
Right.
But there's ways to get your conversation in without feeling like it's distracting from other things that you have to do. You could talk in the car. I don't recommend doing it all the time because if you start talking to me in the car all the time, then you get off the phone. When you go in the house, and be like, "What's up with that?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Mhm.
true.
What's
I'm
up?
I
With
Now,
that?
guess
Why
I'm not
you
much of
always
a phone
hang up on me
talker.
when you get in the house? We know them type of men."
I had the
I'm not
morning
much of a
drive.
phone talker.
Yeah,
So maybe that's me.
because it
I
takes me
But
need
about
to,
45
Ryan, but
minutes to
see,
an
but
hour to
that's
get to
where
work.
everybody's like love language is and your
yeah.
different needs, right? Like my love language is words of affirmation. So I
Okay.
Mm,
need
okay,
that input. Even though, yeah,
okay.
you could tell me good morning, beautiful. You could ask me to send you a picture and compliment how I looked or whatever, but I need that input, right?
Yeah.
It's different for me,
Don't
and
text me
especially
no good morning,
because
beautiful.
we do our work online. Like we were doing online business before it was even a
It
thing.
was
So
a thing.
Right.
we do our business online, and now I actually work my 9 to 5 online.
Same.
Every single thing I do is online. So with my person, I need to hear your voice. I need that. Like at the end of the day, I need that. I need to hear that masculine voice. Like, hey, babe, how was your day?
You are so cute. Right,
She was like,
right.
"Oh my
You
gosh,
know,
my baby's calling."
I need that. I need to see that phone pop up so I can
And
be
I'm
like,
look,
okay, I gotta go. You know
And
what I'm
see,
saying?
I'm looking at my
I
Like
phone
need
like,
it to
yesterday,
be
I was with family and the phone rang and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be back. Right? You know what I
right.
mean?
But for me,
It's just
I need it when
that.
I need it, but I don't need it all the time. I get paid to talk to people all
Yeah, nah,
day.
take me back to the 90s, like when we didn't even have this internet stuff. Give me that. Like
But
we
see,
on
in
the
the
phone
90s, I
just to
also
keep
wasn't working at a
you.
law firm where I got a bunch of clients bitching and moaning and complaining to me
Well,
for 8
yeah,
hours a
but
day.
that's not. But I'm old. I'm just old school. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I
I want to be
am,
courted old school and call me, and I'm old school like that.
Yeah,
I
see, and
am,
that's it for me. I'm on Zoom. Well, not Zoom, Teams. I'm on virtual calls majority of the day.
yeah.
I avoid
And by
calls.
the time I have no choice but to be on them, right? By the
hmm
time I'm done, I'm beat. I don't want to talk to nobody.
hmm
So
Yeah.
if I see you calling me, and more than likely if I've had a stressful day. So I may want to go home and just soak, or may want to go work out, something to de-stress. I do not want to be on the phone.
It
See,
Like
I
text
feel
can.
like
me.
my person gives me that energy. I feel like talking to even after talking to all those people, I still want to talk to my person. I need to stress though, my person, right?
Yeah.
Not just
Mhm.
random guys I'm talking to. Please don't call me every day, bugging me and bothering me, not having no
Yeah.
conversation.
You
What you
said
doing?
you're
So
gonna
what you
call
doing? So what you
me.
doing? Like, I
You
don't,
never
let's
call me
not do that.
back.
I'm talking about that person that's on your mind that you are just, y'all are like, your relationship is clearly moving in a certain direction. I need to talk to you. I need
But
that
you know,
voice.
Apple,
I
to
need
your
that
point
input.
though, to your point, Apple, with long distance relationships, a lot of times that makes it hard. Now, if
Mhm.
your guy lived, fairly local, I guess you could say, you're getting that physical quality time in person as well as the phone. So you guys have time to get that
Mhm,
bond because
mhm.
you can only bond so much over a phone. I don't care what
Right.
the
Right.
communication looks like, right?
That's true.
So it's like when you have a long distance relationship, couple of hours away, whatever the case may be, you really don't get a chance during those, like you called it, Apple, the honeymoon. Every time you see each other, the honeymoon phase starts all over again. It's like the clock starts all over again. So you
Mhm.
really don't get a chance to get a bond. Do you like each other? Sure. Do you like being around each other? Absolutely. But you don't have that bond to where it's like, I just have to talk to you all day, every day, or even, whatever the case, we have to hear your voice and so on and so forth. So I think that is to the point of how these long distance relationships play out, because
Mhm.
again, the bonding is not necessarily there if versus someone who lives local. You have to be in physical contact. Human beings as a whole need other human beings. You need that contact
That's true.
in order to get that bond going. Yeah, you can fall in love with a whole phone relationship, and as long as you don't have to see the person in person, you good to go. Like, yeah, this is Bay over the phone, you know.
They in person is totally different.
And exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So the bonding is very, very, very different. So in actuality, there really kind of is no right or wrong answer, because I see where you're coming from, Apple. I see where you're coming from, Adrienne, but I also see where, you know what I'm saying, where I'm coming from.
It also goes back to, and then I'm gonna read some tips after this and we're gonna wrap it up, but it goes back to what works for you, right? And we
Mhm.
talked about this in the other episode. What works for you in your relationship?
Mhm.
So I pulled up some 9 tips that were shared by a therapist to make long distance relationships work. So the first one is communicate as much or as little as you need to feel connected. So this goes to what we were just
Mm-hmm.
talking about, and it goes to fitting in everyone's category. Discuss with each other what works for the general frequency and length of time you'll spend texting, talking, or video chatting in a day or in a week. So again, every person or every relationship has to decide what the frequency is that makes both people feel fulfilled, right?
Mhm.
And that will allow them to continue on with the relationship effectively. The second one is be there even when you can't actually be there. So at the core
Mm-hmm.
of every call is the person asking, whether it's verbally asking or in action, are you going to be there for me, right? Can you pick up on my emotional cues and respond to my needs? Do you catch the tone of my voice that's different when I'm having a rough day versus when everything is fine, or when I say things are fine? Can you tell and be like, nah,
Not
I
so
don't think
much.
Right.
let's kind of work through this. And I think when you're doing long distance relationships, you have to be even more aware of that, right? Because to
Right.
Adrian's point, if you're just texting but my texts are short, are you picking up on that, right? Well,
Right.
what's wrong? You're not texting like you normally do. Let me pick up the phone and call you so I can
Mhm.
hear your voice, because I need to know, are you irritated, are you just busy, are you sad? What's going on? Right? You have
Mhm.
to be very attentive to the person.
You do.
You have to be very intentional about understanding where they are emotionally in that space so that you can be there for them. Remind your partner frequently about what you love about your relationship. So when you're talking to your person, you want to tell them how much you love and appreciate this, or like, right, depending on where you are, love and appreciate, like and appreciate the relationship, the things about them, the qualities that they share, the qualities that y'all share together, things that you like. Constantly reaffirming one another about the relationship, which only adds to the security measure with making each other feel secure in what it is that you're doing. Again, forge a secure attachment by supporting each other's interests. So, one of the best things you can do to promote a secure attachment is supporting your partner as they grow in their individual interests and strengths. So, you need to, if Adrienne is into sewing, or Lynette is into,
Sewing, huh?
listen, knitting. I'm into baking, right? Like, I just had a whole moment. My cake fell apart, right? I need my person to be concerned about why my cake fell apart. I don't care if you don't understand. I don't care if to him it's just go in there and bake another one. To me, it's not. As a baker, my cake fell apart. I am irritated that my cake
Devastated.
felt
Yeah.
devastated that my cake fell apart, particularly because I am taking this cake to someone's part. I don't have time to do it today, right? So it
Right.
threw my whole equilibrium off. If I was in a long distance relationship, that is something that I would need my person to not brush off,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
On the flip side, little things like, oh, well, let me look up how you cannot make your cake. I mean, my cakes normally don't fall, so let me say that. But in his trying to support me, shoot me a little Google article on things you could do to not make your cake fall, right? I may not even
Mhm.
need that because I kind of know what happened.
Yeah.
However,
It's the
support,
thought. It's
it's
the
the thought.
gesture.
It's the thought. It's the supporting something that you know is important to me. Find a way to hang out together while apart. We talked about this before, the virtual movie nights, right? The
Yeah.
finding things that interest each other. Maybe FaceTiming when you're in the grocery store, talking on the phone while you're, running errands, or you're just finding ways to spend time together when you can't physically be together.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to address important issues both remotely and in person.
Mhm.
So we're having an issue and we're not in the same state. We are not getting off this. First of all, we're not going to text about this. We're actually going to get on the phone and now we're going to have a
No,
conversation.
I agree with
And
that. I
Yeah.
we're
agree.
not getting off of this phone until we've resolved the issue, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no going to sleep mad when you're long distance.
I can agree with that. I can
You
agree with
gotta, I mean, you may agree to disagree at the end of the night, but y'all gotta agree to come back and work that out. You cannot leave too much space between you because it's just too much opportunity. You're already not physically in front of each other. Likewise, when you're in person, because you're not around each other a lot, you gotta learn what each other's, not just your love language is, your argument language, your disagreement language, and you gotta come to, these are the boundaries we're setting, like
Fight
any other
fair.
relationship. We're fighting fair,
Fight
right? And
fair.
especially because we're long distance, no stonewalling, no silent treatment, none of that stuff that's going to drive a further wedge between us because we don't have the luxury of just popping up, right? Like a regular
That
relationship.
actually happened to me. No. I will say this: 76 miles away, Bay will pop up at my door if shit gets out of hand. I think it's a little
Okay.
sexy. It's
Okay.
happened.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Pull up
focus
game.
on focus on the positive aspects of a long distance relationship. So frustrating as it might seem to be separated, try to think of a few ways your long distance relationship is actually beneficial. So stick to the positive aspects, right? To Adrienne's point, when we see each other, I got this little Michael Jackson thing happening with this hair today, this little baby hair piece that keep coming down like this. Like, what are we doing?
I cannot.
It's been a whole episode. But to Adrienne's point, figure out what are the positives when we see each other. Now I get to love on you more. You know what I mean? Because I haven't seen you. I'm
Mhm.
so excited to see you. I'm planning things because you're in my city this time. He's planning things because I'm in his city next time. You know what I mean? New experiences for each other. Think of all the beneficial things you can do. You have a whole state that I've never seen. I have a whole state that
Mhm.
you've never seen. No one says because he comes to California, we have to stay in the part that I'm in. Meet me somewhere else in the state,
Just not Central California.
just not Central. I mean, listen, if you want to visit that, but
Right.
but let me take you somewhere different, right? We don't got to stay in my city, in my house, right? There's land out here to be explored. Focus on the positives. Number 8 is respect the reason why you're apart. Kids, life, we met. And so we're just not at a place where we can be together right now. Jobs, whatever it is, respect those reasons, understand it, and be sympathetic to one another. And then finally, when the time is right, create a long term plan for merging your worlds, which we've talked about, whether that's
Mhm.
him coming to you coming to him, y'all going somewhere together totally different, right?
Mhm.
What does
Mhm.
that plan look like? And be honest about it. Be honest and upfront about it from the gate. Like, this is what I see, this is what I would like us to do, and then come up with something that works for y'all. So, final thoughts on long distance relationships. I think we've all pretty much stated our points. Me and Adrienne are on opposing ends. Lynette is somewhere in the middle. But let's go, Adrienne. What are some of your final thoughts as we close this out?
From a long distance standpoint, just seize the moment. If you are someone that's open, um, there's so much out there to offer in the world. You just never know where your other person is. And as some of the facts and some of the tips that Apple read off, man, communication is the key, regardless whether you're local or long distance. Communication is going to be the number one factor. So go out there and live in love.
Lynette?
As far as that goes, I don't have a problem with long distance relationships, but what I will say is that always from the very beginning, make sure that you have a plan. and make
Mm.
sure that plan gets established immediately, because you can't get 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line and no one wants to budge. Nothing has happened, whatever the case may be. Like, there has to be a plan in place. So again, people make time for things that they want to make time for, and for those that they want to make time for. So it's a big conversation needs to be had, but it's possible if two people really want it bad enough.
I agree completely. I think all of those are great tips. The ones that we read, the ones that you guys have offered, I think we've given the audience some great perspective on long distance relationships. You know, whether they work or not is really up to the person, because each individual relationship, as we always say, is going to be different, right? Every person is different in their own body, and then every person is different with other people that they interact with based on how compatible that they are. So I think the most important thing through all of this, again, it's communication, it's trust, it's working things out, it's being willing to compromise, it's not giving each other the silent treatment, it's being mature about what you guys are doing. It takes two people to work a relationship. And so if you are in two other states or two other areas or whatever the case is, you just got to be willing to put in the work, right? And maybe more so than you would if you are local, right? More than a local relationship. So as we close this out, I didn't ask you guys what you were drinking tonight because when we started, I was suffering from
Mine is gone.
souffle cake syndrome. So
Right.
what was in your cup, Adrienne?
I actually had a strawberry cheesecake mango smoothie
Oh wow.
Okay,
that I made.
nice,
It was
nice,
so good. That's why it's gone.
nice. Lynette, I see we are not working with water.
No, right? So I have herbal tea. So this is like peach and all kinds of other good little herbs. I have some loose
Ooh,
leaf tea.
Okay,
Yes. And this went into my French press, and we steeped her, and we
nice.
have tea.
Y'all know
okay.
me. I'm on that red. I was coming with peppermint tea today,
But the way
but
the day,
baby,
But the way that cake fell,
that cake fell, and I said, "Let
it
me go
became
on.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Listen, let me go on and get to it." So, anyways, raise the glasses, even the empty ones, ladies. You know how we do. Cheers to more
oh
life.
yeah.
Cheers to more love, good decisions, and good health. And we will see y'all in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.